Nothing is random. Every moment is a message from the universe. Have you ever wondered, what if everything that has ever happened in your life, the heartbreaks, the delays, the people who left without explanation, was never random at all? What if those painful moments were not endings, but quiet beginnings in disguise? Through the lens of Buddhist wisdom, there is no such thing as coincidence. Every event, whether joyful or painful, carries a message, not to hurt you, but to awaken something within you. Life doesn't shout to get your attention. It whispers. It speaks in subtle patterns, synchronicities, unexplainable gut feelings, the kind only a still and present mind can truly hear. That door that closed on you, maybe it was redirection, not rejection. That loss, perhaps it was a lesson in release. What if the universe isn't punishing you? It's preparing you for something your current self isn't ready to see yet. So instead of resisting, pause, take a breath, and gently ask yourself, what if this pain has a purpose? What if this detour is actually the path? What if I haven't been forgotten, but transformed? In today's video, we'll explore a powerful truth Buddhism has preserved for centuries. Nothing is random. Everything is connected. Every experience is nudging you inward, closer to your true self. And if your soul is yearning for clarity, peace, and deeper meaning, you're exactly where you need to be. Every video here is a gentle doorway back home to yourself. Stay with us until the end. There's a profound bonus insight waiting just for you. Let's begin. Lesson 1. The moment you broke was also the moment you began again. We all face moments in life when something inside us quietly shatters. Maybe it's a goodbye that came too soon, a silence that spoke too loud, or a morning you woke up feeling empty for no reason at all. In those moments, something breaks inside, not with noise, but with a quiet ache only the soul can recognize. But here's the truth that Buddhist wisdom has long whispered: what breaks you is not here to destroy you, it's here to open you. The crack is not your flaw, it's your doorway. Picture a clay pot, whole, unremarkable, ordinary. Then, one day, it cracks. And through that crack, light begins to enter. Suddenly, that pot isn't just a container, it holds radiance. That is the hidden grace of suffering. It strips away illusion. It softens our grip on control. It reveals what we've tried to bury. As the Buddha taught, life is suffering. That's the first noble truth. But the second noble truth reminds us, suffering has a cause. And because it has a cause, it can be understood, faced, and eventually released. Remember this: the cracks within you don't make you broken. They are where the light begins to find you. And with understanding, the pain becomes a doorway, not a life sentence. Suffering, when seen through the lens of awareness, is not a curse. It becomes a quiet invitation, a calling to return to ourselves. You see, pain isn't the enemy. Resistance is. It's our habit of turning away from what hurts that makes the suffering linger longer than it should. But when we learn to sit with our sorrow, not with force, but with tenderness, the way you'd hold a child who's just scraped their knee, something shifts. That shift isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself with lightning or grand revelations. It arrives like a soft breath, like still water after a storm. The discomfort you've been trying to avoid may be carrying a sacred message, not one that asks to be solved or erased, but one that asks to be witnessed, felt, embraced, like a hidden letter written to your soul. I still remember a season in my life when my trust was broken in a way I never saw coming. Someone I deeply loved vanished from my world. No explanation, no goodbye, just silence. I was left alone with questions that echoed through my chest like wind in an empty hallway. But oddly, in that vast emptiness, I found something far more honest than I'd ever known. I uncovered a deeper version of myself, not the self I presented to the world, polished and smiling, but the raw, true self beneath it all, the one who remained even after loss, the one who didn't need validation to feel real. It was in that darkness that I first began to sense the quiet light within me, a light that had always been there, but only revealed itself after everything else fell away. So I ask you gently, what pain cracked you open? What quiet truth rose from the ashes of what fell apart? Instead of trying to forget it, honor it. Write it down. Sit with it. Let it speak. That scar you carry, it's not your weakness. It's your becoming. It's the mark of a soul that dared to feel deeply and rise anyway. If any part of this reflection resonates with you, pause for a breath. Subscribe if you'd like more teachings like this, soft truths for the soul. And if you're open, share in the comments a moment in your life that changed you, or simply whisper silently to the universe, I trust the path, even when it twists. Because here we remember a powerful truth. Nothing is random. Nothing is meaningless. What left you wasn't meant to stay. What hurt you wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to awaken you. The soul doesn't shine in spite of its cracks. It shines through them, Lesson 2. A delay is not a denial. It's divine timing at work. There will be seasons in life where everything seems stuck. You try, you knock on every door, but none open. You put in the effort, and all you hear in return is silence. The world moves forward, and you feel left behind. And in that stillness, a subtle fear creeps in. Have I been forgotten? Is the universe punishing me with silence? But what if it's none of those things? What if the pause is actually protection? What if this delay is a gentle way the universe is aligning you with something better, something you can't yet see? In Buddhist teaching, patience isn't passive. It's not about waiting around hoping things change. True patience is active trust, a deep faith in the unseen rhythm of life. When life whispers, "Not yet," it's not withholding from you. It may be preparing you for a blessing far more profound than the one you were chasing. Spiritual timing isn't about forcing things to happen. It's about becoming truly ready, not just to do, but to receive from a place of inner clarity, not desperation. Think of the bamboo tree. For years it shows nothing above the soil, no sprouts, no leaves, no sign of progress. To the outside world, it appears dormant. But underground, its roots are growing deep, stabilizing, strengthening. Then, seemingly overnight, it shoots upward with astonishing speed. That's how growth often looks. Quiet, invisible, but powerful. Beneath the soil, the bamboo tree remains unseen, but it's not idle. It's building. Its roots grow long and strong, anchoring deeply into the earth to carry the weight of what's to come. Then, one day, it bursts upward, growing feet in mere days, tall, resilient, unshakable. To the outside world, this growth seems sudden. But to the soul, it was never a surprise. It was sacred preparation, hidden in plain sight. You too might be in that unseen season, a time when the world isn't watching, applause is absent, and your progress feels invisible. But don't mistake invisibility for insignificance. What you're cultivating beneath the surface is vital. This too is growth. This is the art of surrendering your rigid timelines and leaning into something deeper, divine unfolding. In Buddhist thought, true patience is not gritting your teeth while waiting for life to move. It's a soft surrender, a willingness to breathe deeply while things remain unclear. It is trust in motion, even when everything feels still. Take a moment right now. Close your eyes gently and inhale. Say to yourself softly, "I trust." Then exhale and whisper, in perfect timing, Let those words settle into your chest until the tension begins to melt, until a tender sense of calm replaces the urge to rush. Because when life delays you, it's often gifting you something even more valuable than what you were chasing: perspective, clarity, depth. You begin to refine your desires, not only what you want, but why you want it. And more importantly, who you are becoming in the process. Waiting becomes a sacred teacher. Desire, once sharp and impatient, softens into wisdom. The heart expands not in fear, but in readiness. I once knew someone who cried over a lost opportunity. They were convinced that a job they didn't get was meant for them. The rejection felt brutal. But months later, a different door opened, one they hadn't even considered. And this time, the offer wasn't just a title or paycheck. It aligned with their values, their purpose, their peace. That original no wasn't rejection at all. It was redirection. It was the universe whispering, "Not this, not yet. Something better is coming." So I ask you gently, what if your delay is not a setback, but a setup? What if the waiting is where your roots are growing strongest, silently unseen? You are not behind. You are being synced with a life that doesn't just match your goals. It matches your soul. If these words speak to something inside you, breathe with them, like this video. And if you feel moved, share with us in the comments. What are you waiting for? And what has it been teaching you about who you truly are? Let this truth settle deep into your bones. Nothing is coincidence. The path hasn't disappeared. It's being prepared for you. And maybe you're being prepared for it. Some delays aren't detours. They are coordinates, guiding you home to the life you were always meant to live. Lesson 3. What falls away reveals what is meant to stay there. Comes a moment in every soul's journey when something you once clung to begins to slip through your fingers. Maybe it's a love you once believed was forever, a dream you poured your heart into, a role or identity that shaped your sense of self. And as it unravels slowly, painfully, your heart aches, not with chaos, but with a quiet kind of grief, a longing for what used to feel certain. Full rewrite of Lesson 3 will continue if you'd like me to proceed. There comes a point on your journey where something you once believed in with all your heart begins to slip through your grasp. You find yourself asking, why now? Why this? Especially when you've given everything your time, your effort, your love. It feels like betrayal, like life has turned away just when you needed it most. But maybe it isn't betrayal at all. Maybe it's truth peeling back the layers, removing what no longer serves, so you can finally see what truly matters. In the eyes of Buddhist wisdom, impermanence is not something to fear. It's not punishment. It's the process. What leaves your life is not always a loss. Sometimes it's the gentle clearing that reveals what's meant to stay. Let's pause and reflect on the autumn tree. It sheds its leaves not out of despair, but out of trust. It doesn't cling in desperation. It releases with grace, knowing that beneath its bare limbs, life continues. Quietly, silently, preparing for renewal. And the same is true for you. What feels like you're losing may simply be something you've outgrown. There was a time in my own life when I held tightly to an identity, a version of myself shaped by fear, by the need to please, by the belief that I had to be something to be enough. It was like wearing a mask every day. One I convinced myself I couldn't live without. But the longer I wore it, the more suffocated I felt. Then one day, life didn't shout. It whispered, softly, kindly. This is no longer you. Letting go didn't destroy me. It freed me. I didn't shrink. I expanded. Because real strength doesn't come from gripping tighter. It comes from knowing when to release with dignity, with reverence, with trust. Letting go isn't weakness. It's wisdom. It's the deep knowing that what is real cannot be taken. What is true will never abandon you. Take a moment. Close your eyes. Picture your heart like a tree full strong, wide open. Now imagine one leaf, just one, falling gently from its branch, not with resistance, but with reverence. That simple act of release is the quiet beginning of healing, not by accumulating more, but by allowing space where something deeper can take root. Because loss is not always a wound. Sometimes it is an opening, a sacred space carved out for new light, new truth, new life. Ask yourself gently, what have I been holding on to that no longer holds me? What space is quietly opening through this release? Don't rush the answer. Sit with it. Let it rise slowly, like spring thawing frozen earth. And if you've ever felt that something was unfairly taken from you, take a breath. It may not have been a punishment. It may have been grace disguised as loss. Because the soul doesn't grow by adding more. It grows by letting go, by releasing expectations, by embracing the empty spaces, through absence, through silence, through the sacred shedding of what no longer fits. The universe doesn't punish. it prunes, and what it removes was never meant to define you. Lesson 4. Rejection isn't a wall. It's a whisper from life, saying not this way. There are times in life when things don't go as planned. You walk toward a door with hope in your heart, only to watch it close right before you reach it. An opportunity slips through your hands. A person you loved walks away without warning, and you're left with a haunting question that echoes in your chest like a fog that won't lift. Why me? But what if that painful no wasn't life being cruel? What if it was life being kind? What if the things that didn't work out, the jobs that fell through, the relationships that ended, the dreams that dissolved, were never meant to be yours in the first place? In the wisdom of Buddhism, rejection isn't the enemy. It's not a dead end. It's a realignment, a sacred redirection that shifts your path before you wander too far from your true self. Sometimes, when a door slams shut, it's not to keep you out, it's to keep you safe. There may have been a fire behind that door that you couldn't yet see. The ego cries, "I was denied," but the soul quietly and steadily replies, "You were spared." Not every longing is meant to unfold. Not every desire leads to peace. And not every path you think you want is in harmony with your deeper becoming. Life is a bit like water. It doesn't fight the rock in its way. It doesn't try to smash through it. It simply flows around, soft, persistent, undeterred. Water doesn't force its direction, but it never forgets its destination. And eventually, it always reaches the ocean. You are allowed to do the same, to bend, to take a breath and admit, "I don't understand this yet." You're allowed to grieve what didn't happen, while still trusting that something greater is quietly unfolding beneath the surface. I remember a time when I poured everything into a dream I thought was mine. I worked tirelessly, fueled by passion and certainty. But the more I chased it, the further it drifted from me. At first, I took it personally. I blamed myself, felt unworthy, invisible. But in the quiet that followed, a deeper voice began to speak. That rejection hadn't destroyed me. It had freed me. It had cleared a sacred space within me where something more meaningful could take root. I hadn't failed. I had been redirected to a path that wasn't just impressive on paper, but fulfilling to the soul. So now I ask you, what was the no that shaped you? What door slammed shut and unknowingly pointed you back to yourself? Let that memory rise, not to reopen old wounds, but to honor how that loss quietly became your beginning. And if you're standing today in a moment of rejection or disappointment, take a slow, steady breath. You are not broken. You are being repositioned. The path ahead is not lost. It's being redrawn for something greater. Trust the current, even when you don't understand it, especially then, because the universe doesn't block you out of punishment. It blocks you to protect, to reroute, to teach, to guide. If this truth resonates with something deep inside you, take a quiet moment. Reflect. Subscribe if you want more of these gentle reminders for the soul. And in the comments, I invite you to share your story. What moment of rejection turned out to be your turning point? Let's grow stronger together, not in spite of the no, but because of it. Lesson 5. The soul grows where comfort ends. Sometimes the clearest answers arrive not with a yes, but with a no. A no that seems cruel at first glance, but underneath, it's a gift in disguise. That's the thing about growth. It rarely comes wrapped in ease. It comes cloaked in difficulty, pressure, and surrender. And yet, isn't it interesting how peace often arrives after the storm? Not because the storm was unkind, but because it was sacred. We're conditioned to chase comfort, to go where things feel light, safe, familiar. But the soul doesn't crave safety. It craves expansion. And expansion never happens on soft terrain. The soul leads us not into ease, but into the places that shake us, into the heart of discomfort, into moments that tremble beneath our feet and crack open our certainty. Because transformation does not happen where everything is smooth. It happens in the unraveling. It happens when what we thought we knew no longer holds. Think of the lotus flower. It does not bloom in crystal clear water. It rises from the thick, dark, murky mud, the kind of place others would avoid. But that's where beauty begins. That's where strength grows beneath the surface, hidden in what's difficult. And you too were made for rising. Chances are there was a moment in your life where it all fell apart. A chapter ended, not softly, but with a violent collapse. You stood in the rubble, breathless, certain it was the end. But was it? Or was that the moment something new, something ancient and true began to stir? Maybe it was clarity. Maybe it was courage. Or maybe it was a version of yourself that had been waiting patiently, buried beneath all the expectations and roles. This is how the soul moves. Not in straight, predictable lines, but in spirals. It brings you back to old pain, not to punish you, but to remind you. You've outgrown this. The discomfort isn't there to hurt you. It's an invitation, a sign that you are being reshaped. Because comfort alone will never wake you up. Comfort might keep you alive, but it won't make you feel alive. The soul doesn't want you to merely survive. It wants you to wake up. So pause. Take a slow breath. Close your eyes and ask gently, what is my soul becoming through this struggle? Maybe it's becoming softer, more compassionate. Maybe it's learning to let go of what it was never meant to carry. Maybe, just maybe, it's learning to stand unapologetically in its truth. Whatever it is, trust it, even if it hurts. Especially if it hurts, because like the bamboo that must split before it surges upward, you are not breaking down, you are breaking open. So ask yourself, where in my life am I clinging out of fear? What am I trying to hold together that's meant to fall apart? Maybe what's unraveling isn't a failure. It's the exact undoing that's required for your transformation. Pain isn't the enemy. Discomfort isn't a mistake. They are sacred guides, quiet teachers, showing you the exact moment where your old self ends and the new you begins. Lesson 6. Loss is a lantern that lights the soul. Nothing is random, not even the storms, especially not the storms. Your soul knows exactly what it came here to become. And sometimes the path to that becoming is illuminated not by what you gain, but by what you lose. Not every loss is truly a loss. Some things disappear in form, but return as essence, as wisdom, as strength, as a quiet knowing that could only be born from the ache of absence. At first, loss feels like a cruel thief. It takes something precious, a person, a dream, a sense of certainty, without warning and without mercy, leaving behind only silence. But if you stay with that silence, if you breathe into it rather than running away from it, something sacred begins to emerge. A voice that isn't loud, but steady, a wisdom that wasn't visible before. We often think of loss as an ending, but sometimes it's a threshold, a doorway the soul must step through to see life as it truly is. Think of a teacup once overflowing and then shattered. Only through its breaking does it create the space for something richer to be poured in. Not necessarily sweeter, but deeper, truer. And unlike fleeting comfort, true wisdom stays. Pause for a moment. Think back to the loss that shaped you most. Was it a love you couldn't hold on to? A future you planned that never arrived? A dream that slipped like sand through your fingers? At the time, it may have broken you open, but now looking back, what did it leave behind? Perhaps it gave you compassion, a heart that understands the pain of others. Perhaps it taught you to sit with your sorrow instead of running from it. Perhaps it stripped away illusions, forcing you to meet your most authentic self for the very first time. We resist letting go because we mistake it for failure, for abandonment, for the idea that something is being taken from us. But often, life isn't punishing you. It's making space, a sacred clearing where something deeper can take root. The things that fall away often do so because their purpose is complete. Their role in your story has ended. And only when you unclench your grip do you see the truth. The wisdom wasn't lost, it simply changed form. Close your eyes for a moment. Bring to mind one loss that still echoes in your heart. Now imagine that loss not as emptiness, but as a lantern, a light shining on your path. What truth did it reveal? What clarity did it bring? Perhaps it taught you the fragile beauty of the present moment, the strength it takes to love deeply, even knowing nothing is guaranteed. Perhaps it made you softer, more human, more alive. What if your deepest grief was also your greatest teacher? Take a slow, gentle breath. Release the wish for it to have happened differently. Let it be what it was always meant to be, a guide, a light, a sacred turning point. It went the only way it could have, not to break you, but to wake you. There's a truth we often resist. Loss is part of being alive, but suffering becomes sacred when we choose to let it shape us, not just wound us. That's the quiet alchemy of the soul. It doesn't evolve in straight lines. It spirals, shedding old skins, circling back to old truths, and becoming something new again and again. So if any part of this touched something soft within you, don't rush to fix it. Pause, let the words linger. Let them settle like sunlight on still water. And if you feel called like this video, subscribe for more quiet reflections for the heart. And in the comments, I invite you to write, "The light I carry came from what I lost." Because some things once lost don't return the same. They come back as wisdom. They come back as light. Lesson 7. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay, but every soul leaves something behind. Some people enter your life like lightning, brilliant, sudden, unforgettable. They arrive without warning, shake something loose inside you, and disappear just as quickly. And though their absence may ache, perhaps, they were never meant to stay. Maybe their role wasn't to walk with you to the end, but to awaken something within you that had long been asleep. Not every presence is meant to be permanent. Some people come only to act as mirrors, to reflect something vital back to you, who you are, what you believe, or who you're on the verge of becoming. They challenge your peace, stretch your boundaries, force you to confront truths you'd buried deep. And then they leave. The mind clings. The heart breaks. But the soul knows. Not all teachers wear robes or stay forever. Close your eyes for a moment. Bring to mind someone who once mattered deeply. A friend, a lover, a guide, even a stranger. Someone no longer by your side. Now whisper silently or aloud, "Thank you for the gift I couldn't see back then." Maybe their leaving taught you how strong you really are. Maybe their betrayal carved out the boundaries you now protect. Maybe their fleeting love reminded you that your heart, after everything, is still capable of opening. Sometimes, only in their absence do we truly see. The laughter was sacred. The conflict held lessons, and the ending, the painful, unresolved ending, was the beginning of a new version of you. Over time, the wound becomes a doorway. The ache becomes a teacher. And the goodbye becomes a part of your becoming. So ask yourself gently, what did they leave behind in me? Was it a scar, a softness, a shift in perspective, a new sense of self? Because even temporary souls leave permanent footprints, and the ones who don't stay often leave the most powerful lessons. Final reflection. You were never meant to stay the same. If you've walked through heartbreak, if you've stood in the ruins of what used to be, if you've watched doors close, held grief in your chest, or said goodbye when you weren't ready, know this: none of it was random. None of it was wasted. And most importantly, none of it broke you beyond repair. You are still here, and beneath every crack, beneath every tear, you carry the makings of someone wiser, softer, stronger than you've ever been. The soul doesn't grow in stillness. It grows in seasons, in falling leaves, in broken cups, in sacred delays, and even in the people who didn't stay. So as you move forward, don't ask only what life took away. Ask instead, what did it leave behind in me? Because sometimes the most radiant light comes from the things we once thought we lost. Every soul who crosses your path leaves something behind. Every encounter, no matter how brief, no matter how unexpected, carries meaning. Not every gift arrives wrapped in kindness. Not every lesson comes in clarity. But make no mistake, life does not move by accident. It flows choreographed with unseen grace, shaped by cause-consequence and a quiet kind of compassion. There are no coincidences, only awakenings waiting to unfold. Let go of the belief that a relationship must last forever in order to matter. Some of your greatest transformations were born from connections that lasted only moments. Think of that one stranger whose smile softened your grief, the short conversation that shifted your entire perspective, the fleeting love that opened your heart in a way nothing else could. Not all journeys are lifelong, but every soul leaves a footprint. Let your grief become gratitude. Let your longing dissolve into wisdom. If someone comes to mind as you hear these words, someone who is no longer in your life, pause. Hold them gently in your heart and whisper, not because they left, but because they came. Thank you. Something in me changed the moment you entered my life. If these words stirred something quiet inside you, like this video, subscribe for more soul-deep reflections. And in the comments, share this. Even shooting stars leave trails of light, and that light still guides me. Lesson 8. The universe is not punishing you. It's redirecting you. There are times in life when everything seems to collapse at once. A door closes unexpectedly. A dream crumbles in your hands. A relationship ends without warning. And you're left sitting in the silence, wondering, why me? It's in these moments that the world can feel cruel. Like life is against you. Like the universe is punishing you for something you can't even name. But the truth is far gentler and far deeper. The universe isn't cruel. It's conscious. It doesn't punish. It redirects. Imagine a boat sailing across vast, open water. The sky is clear. The path ahead seems certain. Then, suddenly, the wind shifts. Your sails strain. The course you trusted begins to change. You panic. You tighten the ropes. You fear you've lost your way. But what if the current wasn't trying to destroy your plan? What if it was guiding you to safer shores, to something more aligned than what you thought you wanted? This is how the intelligence of the universe works. Like the ancient law of Dharma, it doesn't move in straight, linear paths. It bends. It curves. It flows like rivers, carving new courses, always heading toward unseen seas. You may not understand the direction while you're in it. It may not look like progress. It may feel like chaos. But trust this. It is never random. It is never without purpose. So right now, place your hand over your heart. Breathe in deeply and remind yourself, even if I don't know where this is going, I trust that life is leading me somewhere I'm meant to be. You are not being punished. You are being repositioned, redrawn, redirected. And if you allow it, this storm you're facing may just become the very wind that lifts your sails. Lesson 8. Conclusion. You're not off course. You're being rerouted. Take a breath, and with that breath, whisper softly to yourself, "Even this is guiding me." You are not lost. You are not broken. You're simply being redirected, not away from life, but deeper into the heart of it. Not away from joy, but toward something more true, more whole, more you. Still, we resist. We panic when the road curves. We mistake divine detours for personal failure. We label delays as punishment. We carry heartbreak like a mark of shame. But what if the ending wasn't cruel? What if it was compassionate? What if the thing you begged to keep was never meant to stay, because something better was quietly being prepared? Ask yourself gently, what pain have I misunderstood as punishment? Was it the job that didn't work out, the relationship that slipped away, the long, quiet season that felt like stagnation? Now ask yourself again, what if that moment wasn't rejection, but protection? What if it was grace wearing the costume of loss? Buddhist wisdom teaches us the universe doesn't operate in terms of reward and revenge. It simply calls you again and again back to your path. And the sharper the pain, the clearer the invitation. Not to collapse, but to awaken. Not to fight harder, but to feel deeper. Sometimes the universe whispers, and when we don't listen, it sends a stronger wind, not to wreck your plans, but to rescue your soul, to shake loose the illusions you've clung to peel away the false layers so that your truest self can guide you home, not your ego, but your essence. So take another breath. Loosen your grip. You don't need to figure everything out today. You're still moving. You're still unfolding. You're still becoming. And this detour you're walking, it's not a failure. It's a sacred path in disguise. If these words resonated somewhere in your heart like this video, subscribe for more Buddhist-rooted wisdom and soulful reflections. And in the comments, share with us what once felt like a loss, but now looks like a blessing in disguise. The wind may shift, the road may twist, but trust this: your soul always knows the way home. Lesson 9. The quieter you become, the more life speaks. We live in a noisy world, but often the loudest chaos isn't around us. It's within us. We rush through our days, asking, "What should I do? Why am I stuck? What's next?" But what if the answers we're chasing aren't out there in the noise? What if they're hiding in the very stillness we keep avoiding? The soul doesn't shout. It doesn't demand your attention. It whispers softly, patiently, always. But in order to hear that quiet voice within you, you must first become still. Just like a pond clouded with stirred-up mud, the mind cannot reflect anything clearly until it's left undisturbed. In that stillness, not forced, not rushed clarity begins to return, not with urgency, but with truth. So pause, just for a moment. Sit in the silence you usually rush past. Let your breath slow. Let your thoughts drift by like passing clouds. No need to fix. No need to analyze. Just be. That ache in your chest. It's not something to escape. It's holding a message. That restlessness. It's not a flaw. It's a compass. That quiet longing you keep pushing aside. It remembers the version of you before the noise took over. Ask yourself, when was the last time I truly listened? Not to others, but to myself. We live in a world that glorifies motion, productivity, speed noise. But your soul, she grows in stillness. She blooms in slowness. The most powerful insights don't explode like lightning. They arrive like dawn, soft, steady, and undeniable. What if the guidance you've been so desperately chasing has been trying to speak all along? Through your breath, through your intuition, through the quiet wisdom of your body. But the noise made it impossible to hear. What if the next step isn't about doing more, but about becoming still enough to notice what's already calling you? Buddhist wisdom reminds us, true insight isn't something you chase or achieve. It's something you remember. It's already there, beneath the ego, beneath the fear, beneath the noise. It waits patiently, in silence. So today, gift yourself a few minutes of stillness. Breathe slowly. Close your eyes. Let the edges of the world soften. Don't be afraid of the silence. It's not emptiness. It's presence. It's the sacred space where truth can finally rise, where the version of you that's been buried under distractions, expectations, and noise can finally come home. If these words brought you even a moment of peace, give this video a like. Subscribe for more reflections rooted in Buddhist wisdom. And in the comments, I invite you to share, what has silence shown you? That noise never could, because stillness isn't the absence of life. It is life fully awake. Let it speak. Let it guide you. because what you're chasing out there in the world, it's already waiting for you within. Conclusion: you were never meant to rush. You were meant to rise. Maybe that longing in your heart isn't a destination. Maybe it's a mirror, not asking, "When will I get there?" but "Who am I becoming as I walk this path?" Too often, we mistake delays for denials. We assume the universe is withholding, that our dreams are being dangled just out of reach. But truthfully, life rarely gives us what we're not yet ready to carry. A fruit plucked too early turns bitter. A door that opens too soon might not lead to fulfillment, but collapse. Sometimes the no isn't a rejection. It's a loving whisper. Not yet. Not until you grow into the version of you who can receive this with grace. So close your eyes. Take a slow breath. Now imagine yourself already living your dream, not in terms of the external details, but the feeling of peace, purpose, and alignment. Who are you in that version of yourself? What burdens have you released? What wounds have finally been tended to? What truth are you now willing to live by? And maybe now you'll begin to see you were never just chasing a goal. You were being shaped to embody it. The journey isn't punishment. It's transformation. Every hardship is polishing away parts that no longer serve. Every rejection is a refinement, not a rejection of you, but of the version that hasn't bloomed yet. The soul doesn't race. It doesn't seek shortcuts. It waits patiently, knowing the treasure isn't at the summit. It's hidden in the climb. With each step forward, the real question isn't, "How fast can I get there?" but "How deeply can I grow along the way?" Buddhist wisdom reminds us, real change doesn't come from forcing the outcome. It comes from aligning with truth, from becoming the kind of person who can welcome what you desire without fear. Your outer world is always reflecting your inner world. So instead of asking, "How do I get what I want?" ask, "Who am I becoming that can hold what I want with calm, with clarity, with confidence?" That dream you hold, it's not waiting at the end of the path. It's waiting inside. You planted like a quiet seed, and the ache you feel, that's your future self, gently calling you to rise. Bonus lesson: do less, become more. In a world that worships the busy simplicity is a quiet kind of rebellion. We're told to hustle, to stack achievements, to earn our worth. But the soul, she speaks in stillness, not in schedules. Real change doesn't come from adding more. It comes from subtracting what no longer belongs. Think of a tree. It doesn't grow by sprinting upward. It grows by staying rooted. Think of the monk who touches the world not through noise, but through presence. Healing isn't always about doing more. Sometimes it's about feeling more. Peace isn't hiding in the next breakthrough. It's waiting in the breath you keep skipping over. Declutter your thoughts. Let go of the need to prove. Breathe into the quiet. And in that space, you'll meet someone you've forgotten your true self. Simplicity isn't emptiness. It's clarity. It's focus. It's freedom. When you stop racing toward everything, you allow life to finally move toward you. Final words you are already becoming. As you walk this path, whether gently or with trembling steps, remember this: you were never meant to become someone else. You were always meant to return to who you were before the world told you who to be. Healing doesn't require you to fix every flaw. It only asks that you pause. Listen. Trust the silence. Welcome the detours. Let pain become a teacher, not a punishment. So breathe. Come back to yourself. You don't need to chase your worth. You already are worthy. And with each step, each setback, each rise after a fall, you are becoming more whole, more rooted, more you. Call to action. If this journey spoke to your heart, if even one lesson helped you see your life more clearly, please consider liking this video. It tells the algorithm this message matters. Subscribing to the channel for more weekly reflections rooted in Buddhist wisdom, soul-deep guidance, and gentle reminders to help you come home to yourself. Sharing in the comments below. What is one lesson from this video you'll carry with you? Or simply write, I am becoming the version of me I was always meant to be. And remember, you're not behind. You're becoming. The path is not lost. It is unfolding at the perfect pace, in perfect time, for your perfectly imperfect, beautiful soul.